Hello, this is Joe83. This is round 6 of the LCR2 season. We're here in Baku for the the street circuit, the high-speed circuit in the city centre of Baku. And yeah, it's a interesting race to drive around, to say the least. And here we are in the F2 cards once again. After I did okay in Spain, it was pretty average. I think I finished 5th and then 6th in the sprint. So yeah, hoping for a little bit better this time. But Baku, I didn't have much practice for this, and it's quite a hard circuit anyway, especially with braking points and whatnot. So yeah, not that massively prepared for this race, but hopefully we can push on nonetheless and get a good lap in here in the one-shot quali and down towards turn 3, braking just after 150 meter board and down into second gear for the turn 3 and through up to the next corner just before the 50 again, and second gear once again. These corners are all very similar, really, the 90-degree corners in this circuit, which is pretty uninspiring really. And into this next one, another 90-degree corner, followed by another 90-degree corner, and it's set second gear all the way and almost pushing that wall on the outside there, but not quite, and down towards the castle section, which is very difficult to get right. And now into this corner, braking about 75 meters, turning in a little bit too early, and I've corner cut. And yeah, I think for the first time this season, I'm going to be not saying I've been qualifying and disqualified. So I'm P11, and that's last of the people because Callum disconnected and unfortunately couldn't get back in. So that's not gone very well for me. And you can see the top two absolutely gone. There's a second gap between second and third on the grid. So yeah, the best I was going to get was third anyway, but realistically I wasn't going to do that either. So hopefully we can have a good race anyway from 11th on the grid. I'm going to try something a bit different, go on to the mediums, and just hope that we can do something a bit mental later in the race if it's a safety car or something. But yeah, onto the grid then for the 5 red lights. And here they come onto the hoarding now. It's 5 red lights for the Baku Grand Prix from 11th on the grid. It actually says 12th, I think, but that's not right. And we've straight away got a good start ahead of Joe, who's alongside me. He gets Callum's AI car, has gone absolutely bolting into turn 1 and through the first corner, trying to keep nice and clean, running outside of Mulder as well, maybe picking up another place, but no. In the ART, he's able to just about stay ahead, and then down towards turn 2, not really anything doing. I don't really want to go flying in there with the all guns blazing, because it's just not really worth it right at the start, especially on medium tyres as well. And luckily we've got one place already up ahead of Joe, and we can push on to try and do a bit better than that for the remainder of this lap. But down towards turn 3, again, not really much point just sending it because it's so early in the race. I did brake incredibly early there though, which could give Joe a bit of a chance, but it's a little bit too far back, it looks like, into turn 3 now. And there's still side by side up ahead, Mulder and Matt. Mulder absolutely mounting that inside curve there. And down towards the next corner, nothing really doing. I'm 4/10 back, which is way too far back for anything to go on. But braking very late here. Mulder, a little bit there for the taking, but he's got a good exit there. And unfortunately, there's nothing doing towards the castle section. But by the end of lap 1, you can see Mulder and Matt still going at it. Mulder's actually going to hit the wall pretty hard there, so I don't know if he got damage from that. But if he did, then I can hopefully capitalise. But meanwhile, Joe has got a really good exit out of the final corner. He's going to go alongside. I'm still getting a 16 from Mulder, luckily. And that's going to cost Joe because there's no DRS or anything at the minute. And yeah, it's going to be side by side down towards turn 1. I've got a little bit of a speed advantage, just like braking nice and late, and Joe has to brake a little bit early, but I'm actually going wide with that because I broke slightly too late, and that's going to pick up a warning as well. But over the curb, and Joe's going to get a good run down towards turn 2. I'm braking down into second gear here, and Joe's gone very deep there. He's going to lock up, and I'm going to do a switch track move and take that place back into 11th, which is actually 10th because Callum's AI is a lap ahead of everyone. So yeah, up into 1 point at the minute, and a bit later turning the lap into the next corner. And still lap 2. Mulder's half spinning there for about, I think, the 3rd or 4th race in a row, it feels like. I'm spending half of my race just avoiding Mulder's spinning car, and that's going to give Joe a chance. And Callum's AI goes down the inside as well, with Joe inside him. So I don't know what's going on here. I'm getting overtaken by an AI car, which is not what you want to see. But meanwhile, Joe is actually taking that place for real, and there's still a lot of ghosting going on. I don't really want to risk anything into the castle section. And there's Ben, who has risked too much and spun into the castle section, and that's raised me back up into what is 10th. But we've got 2 cars just ahead of me, Mulder and Joe, who I maybe have a chance of keeping with. Obviously, medium tyres isn't going to help, but one lap later, and Joe has actually cleared Mulder. And meanwhile, there's loads and loads of damage going on up there. There's an absolute cluster of cars up into the final corner, all going side by side with each other, and there could be a huge crash if they're all going side by side through the next few corners. But meanwhile, I've got a good exit on Mulder, so we could have a chance here to take the 9th place away from Mulder and into the high-speed final 2 corner. It's a little bit of a lift there, but that's to be expected on heavy fuel and with a car directly in front of me. But look at the amount of cars. It's just a wall of cars. I don't know what's going on. Most of these have damage, I think. I'll see how much damage you saw. Rydog is going to pit off into the pits. So is Kez on the left-hand side there. And Joe and Mulder going wheel to wheel, as with Matt and Apex as well. It's absolutely like loads and loads of cars. Joe braking pretty early. I almost hit the back of him. Mulder's gone very deep there. It's going to give me a chance to take his place as well. And up into 7th place, and meanwhile Joe and Apex going very close, so they're going to make contact. Joe's been forced out, and that's going to give me another place up into what is actually 6th, because as I said, Callum's AI is a lap ahead of everyone. So yeah, it's 6th place at the minute, and Apex and Matt are going to go wheel to wheel now, and I'm making pretty good progress. Managed to get no damage so far, just capitalise on other people's mistakes, and through the next corner, Matt and Apex going wheel to wheel. So I could have a chance here on the Dams car of Apex as well if something happens, something goes wrong between them two, braking nice and late. Matt braking pretty early there, but Apex has got a pretty poor exit. I'm going to go round the outside of the next corner maybe, and try and get the inside line. Apex goes very deep, going to try and lap a switch track move. He's such a narrow line, and unfortunately I can't make anything work, and that's going to give Joe a chance back down the inside. He did it earlier to me at this corner, he's done it again, so pretty opportunistic there from Joe, and Apex going very slidey through that corner. He's absolutely drifting around here, and Joe and Apex now side by side into the castle section. This is not what you want to see, and sensibly Joe backs out of that. He does not want to be crashing this early in the race, only on lap 4, and we've already had quite a bit of action. But I'm back down into 7th place, unfortunately, and Matt has now absolutely bolted away because he hasn't been caught up in this battling. But at the end of the same lap, Apex is going to pit as well. I think he must have got damage at some point, and that's racing back up a couple of places, as John is also in the pits on mediums. No, he started on super softs obviously, and now he's on mediums, but that's very early. I don't know if I actually get to the end on that. But meanwhile, Joe just ahead of me and down towards turn 3. Can we make something happen here? And Joe's sliding on the entry, but through the exit, I've got a pretty clean one. He's obviously got no DRS, as Matt's too far clear, but I'm going to go down the inside with the DRS wide open, better straight line speed, and that's going to raise me up into 4th place now. So pretty good stuff, and I actually broke the wrong meter board there, but Joe is going to try and fight it back, but I've got the inside line. But a really bad exit, a slide on there, and that's going to give Joe a chance down towards turn 3. Once again, going incredibly deep into that corner, and still Joe is all over my back end, so he's going to try it. I've got a really bad slide as well, and going wide, and he's got the inside line for this corner, trying to hold it around the outside. Unfortunately, there's such a big curve, you don't want to hit that, and I've accidentally had to put Joe in a wall, which was not my intention, but I didn't really have a choice because I don't want to go over that curb because it's just huge and waste loads of your time if you try and jump over it. So I had no option but to put Joe into a wall. But the one up later, and there's a safety car deployed, which is a pretty awkward time for a safety car to be deployed for Rydog retiring, because lap 6, the mediums are meant to go to lap 9 or 10, and then obviously super softs to the end, but I don't really have a choice, I don't think. Meanwhile, I've been black flagged, but that's obviously a glitch. But I decided to pit because if you carry on, you're just going to lose so much time to pit later in the race. So I had to pit this lap. Obviously, the safety car will be out for 2 or 3 laps at least, and that will mean the tyres don't really have much wear on them. So we're going to have to stretch this second stint out quite a lot. But yeah, hopefully we can make it work. And you can see all of the drivers who are on mediums are going to pit this lap. And even the ones out on super softs are going to pit as well. It's just an absolute no-brainer. So into the pits we go. It's a 5.7, which is obviously the only time you can get for a pit stop in F2, it feels like. And we come out of the pits in 5th place. The timings actually sorted themselves out under the safety car because Callum, it worked out that he wasn't actually leading the race and he was a lap down and disconnected. So yeah, the game taking 7 laps to work out his timings. But on to lap 9 now, you can see we've got 6 full laps to do on these tyres to get to the end of the race, and Connor here in the lead going very slowly on this restart. My teammate Luke is currently in 3rd place, and myself and Matt are in the same boat really. We both got to stretch these super softs to the end of the race, but on the restart Connor is now gone, and I've got a pretty good exit here, and you can see Joe is just behind me again, but he is on medium tyres. So yeah, I've got the fresher tyres, and I think well, obviously softer tyres, but within a few laps the mediums will definitely be the tyre to be on, because these softs do wear incredibly quickly. And down towards turn 2, nothing doing ahead. You can see Matt and Luke going pretty close together there for 3rd place, but the top 2 are going to absolutely bolt away. As we saw in qualifying, they were like a second quicker than everyone else. At the end of the restart, actually, no DRS enabled yet, but we've got a slipstream on my teammate Luke, and I'm on the softer tyres, of course. His tyres are a few laps a lot older and 1 step harder, and we're going to go down the inside into turn 1, make that move stick up into 4th, and break in pretty early here. Luke's going to go incredibly deep. I don't know if he's going to slow that down. He just about does, so well done to him. I didn't really want to fight him that much because obviously I'm better off just sticking in the slipstream and try to help him drag me along. But down towards turn 3, still no DRS enabled, but we're definitely close enough to pick up a little bit of slipstream. You can see Kez behind me is also in the same boat of nursing these super softs to the end of the race, and he's going to be holding up all the drivers behind me pretty much for the rest of the race almost. I've not got much to worry about behind. But into turn 3, nothing I can do on my teammate Luke. And down towards turn 4, probably going to keep it nice and clean as long as he doesn't make a mistake. But that's exactly what he does do. And he's decided to go and pay a visit to the Baku shops. And yeah, he's completely dropped out the running. So up into 4th place now, and Luke absolutely bottling it there. Big time, and that's raised me into 4th place. But you can see, final lap of the race now. As I said, Kez was struggling a lot more with tyres than I was, but I was still starting to struggle. But luckily, all the cars around me were in the same boat, and I'm now on 61%, you saw on the bottom right there, on my right rear. And I've got 3.5 seconds up the head and 4.5 behind me, so really not much pressure after Luke made that mistake. But that's going to leave me in 4th place for the feature race, which is very good actually. I was incredibly happy with that, especially starting 11th. Obviously, the safety car played into my hands a little bit, but we started to stretch those tyres out and do pretty well to avoid all the incidents. And finishing in P4, which puts me 5th on the grid for the sprint race. Connor wins the race from Matt and John. John actually got a penalty, which got removed, so it was John in 2nd and Matt in 3rd. So finishing 4th, pretty good. I think it's my 2nd best feature result after my win in Brazil. If you didn't know, I won a race. And now onto the sprint race, starting 5th. As I said, everyone's on medium tyres, so no need to worry for the tyre wear. But unfortunately, as we saw in Brazil a few races ago, I have not been allowed to take the start of the race. I don't know what it is. My internet is absolutely fine. It might be something to do with me hosting the lobbies, or it might just be that the game chooses someone random to kick out in an F2 race. But either way, I'm going to have to leave the session, and they start without me. And by the time I got back in, I was 11th, and we'd lost a lap, and I'm 2 seconds off the back of the pack, and I've got a frame rate glitch, so my frames are on about 20, rather than the usual 60 you expect at least, maybe 100 frames. And yeah, down towards turn 1 though, there's been a yellow flag out, so I don't know what's going on here, but there's definitely some damage, so that will raise me a few places if that's going to cause them to struggle a lot. But into turn 2 now, and nothing, obviously I'm way too far back to make anything happen, but you can see the absolute train that is from, I think, the dams in about 3rd downwards, and I would have loved to be in that train. It looks very fun. And unfortunately, I've been absolutely robbed of it. So yeah, that's cost me a lot of points because I just couldn't even take the start of the sprint race. But we can see I'm going to gain 2 places here because Mulder and Connor have crashed, and that's raised me up into 9th place. And now 5 laps into the race, I just had no pace at all because I couldn't even drive properly with these frames. It was just so bad, and I was doing well to keep out the walls for this long, to be honest. But into the castle section, Joe has managed to crash himself out of the race. That's raised me up into 8th place, which is the points positions actually, so I'll happily take that. Meanwhile, Mulder is who's recovered from that crash earlier on. He's going to go absolutely bolting past me on the straight. Nothing I can really do when he's got that slipstream and the DRS enabled, and that's dropped me down into 9th once again. And into turn 1, he brakes nice and late and takes that place cleanly into 8th place. And now later on in the lap, Mulder going pretty deep here, so can we make something happen? It doesn't really look like it into this corner. He's going to keep it nice and safe this time. But there's Apex, who's gone into the wall, actually. I don't quite know what happened, but Mulder's going to go switch to the inside and take that position up into 7th. And a little bit of corruption on the footage there, but Mulder and Apex going side by side. Apex once again almost half spinning into that corner. That's raised me up into 8th as well. So yeah, perfect really. And back up into the points. Obviously Apex is going to be quite hard to keep behind unless he got damaged, because yeah, he'll probably be driving faster than me with these this problem of the frames, but I'm also the problem of brushing into the walls there. But luckily Ben actually spun out later in the race as well, so last lap of the race, very very boring one in the sprint, but that's going to leave me in 7th place. Apex actually closing all the way up to the line, but just about the line comes quick enough for me, and I take that 7th place. Unfortunate, because obviously I would have probably finished a lot higher had I not disconnected straight away. But that's the way it goes sometimes in online racing. It actually says I won, but I did not. I came 7th, and that's 2 points in the sprint race and 12 points in the feature. So pretty good overall. I've gained some points on my rival Apex, and yeah, hopefully we can continue doing that next few races. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more. This has been JWay3, and I will see you next time.